Hey everyone, and welcome to day 5 of the 7 days to strengthen your immune system. Now today we're going to be talking about gut health, which is such a complex topic to talk about. I am going to try and keep it as mainstream as possible and try and keep it, as quick as possible. But gut health is such an important part of our immunity that it's something we cannot overlook. And I know it's something that doctors don't really teach much about, but it's definitely in the holistic world a very important aspect of our immunity, of our overall health, of our brain health. There's so many neurotransmitters that go from the gut to the brain that talk to each other, and that's why they call it the second brain. Now, looking at gut health and immunity, if we're eating low nutrient foods or, things like alcohol, lots of sugars, lots of starchy carbs, or high GI carbs, if we're doing things like, eating inflammatory foods or sensitivity foods, this has a massive impact on our gut bacteria and the way that it reacts to those foods, or, the lifestyle factors that come into that. And those foods, most importantly, are what will either help you have good gut health or give you bad gut health, depending on your food. So this is why we need to eat those high nutritious, nutrient-rich foods, so that we are feeding our good bacteria in our gut what it needs, and that comes down to not only your fruits and veggies, it comes down to your really good fats, it comes down to your fruits and nuts and seeds, and all of this will play really good gut health, really good factors in your gut health. Even fermented foods are really important, bone broths are really important, and probiotics, good science-based, credible probiotics are really important for that gut health as well, to strengthen the immunity. Why is that though? So I don't know if you know, and this is something that I only learned about 2 years ago, there's about 70 to 80% of your immune strength, or your immune cells, are found in your gut. So isn't that crazy? So you think about that. That's over half of your immunity is made in the gut. 70, 80% worth. That's insane, and this is why gut health is so important for our overall health and our immunity, because the immune cells, most of them are made in the gut. And so we also need to look after gut health due to serotonin being made in the gut. This is your happy hormone. So if your gut isn't happy, your brain isn't happy usually. And we spoke the other day about serotonin and dopamine being turned on from the sun, or turned on from different aspects of, foods and lifestyle factors as well. But if that serotonin in the gut isn't happy, the brain's not happy, because that's a neurotransmitter. Serotonin is made in the gut, and then it transmits, the neurotransmitters to the brain. So gut health, guys, is one of the biggest factors, and obviously one that I was, wanting to talk about later on in these 7-day series, because of the fact that it's so important to us. Now, looking at gut health, how can we better our gut health? I did just mention the nutrient-rich foods, the fruits, veggies, nuts and seeds, those sorts of things, fermented foods, the bone broths, and the really good high-end probiotics are what we need to do to stay on top of this. But also, as I said before, reducing things like alcohol, sugary foods, high carb foods, high GI carb foods, and also, if we look at mindset, which I spoke about, a lot of our emotional issues have an impact on gut health as well. I know myself, if I'm quite anxious, up here, I'm quite anxious, there's something going on, it's making me anxious, or whatever it may be, it's making me stressed out, or it's making me nervous, or whatever it is, I get queasy in the gut. That's that neurotransmitters talking to each other. And if you're stressed out all the time, or if you're someone who has a lot of anxious moments, or a lot of, you've got a short fuse, you're not very patient, or you're someone who's snapping all the time, this could mean that your gut health is not that good. Or it could mean that you're just not focusing on your emotional factors and being able to help your gut health out as well, because you're emotionally reacting instead of, looking at ways that you can not react in that way emotionally, which is causing issues in the gut. And all of that depletes your immunity. It's crazy, right? It is honestly crazy with how much of our emotional factors, you know, cellular stress, inflammation, and free radical damage, or that oxidative stress, does play a part in your gut health. So even high inflammatory foods, you might not know that there's a food that you're sensitive to, but if you are, and then that creates an inflammation because the body's trying to protect itself, that actually has this cascade effect, downward spiral, where the immunity drops because you're eating foods that are inflammatory to you. So this is another way we need to be more vigilant, or you know, look into this ourselves to know what foods we're sensitive to. Listen to your body. Be really in tune with your body so that this isn't something that causes an issue over time and time again. Now, the reason I talk about that is because I actually had leaky gut syndrome, and I had that because I was ignoring the fact that dairy was an issue to me. And so what was that dairy doing? I was ignoring, going, no, I'm still going to be able to have dairy. I need my coffee every day. And I was talking about things like cheeses and ice cream and all of those things that I used to love. But when I had some blood tests done, it actually showed I had a very high casein sensitivity, which is, you know, the proteins in your dairy are whey and casein, and I had a casein sensitivity. I still do. So if I eat those foods, it causes lots of factors in the gut, breaks down gut bacteria in the wrong way. It's causing massive issues to stomach lining, gut wall lining. Food then leaks into the bloodstream, and this causes an inflammatory response. And most people, because of that, later on become, they get a disease or a condition, some sort of ailment because of that. And I was lucky I caught it before that happened. Otherwise, I could have had some sort of ailment or condition pop up because I'd been ignoring those factors. So make sure, if we're sensitive to foods, that we listen to that, and that we are in tune with our body, and we're not ignoring those signals and signs, because the inflammation will pop up, and that's caused by, you know, overloads of oxidation that's happening, which leads to inflammation, which will lead to the diseases and conditions if we don't listen to that. So this gut health plays a big part in that. It really does. And all of that I just spoke of with leaky gut syndrome, or with inflammatory foods, or, you know, free radicals causing major issues which lead to the inflammation, that all comes back to immunity as well. Your immunity will be depleted because it's not able to work in the right way, or it's not able to be heightened and be strong like it should be if the body's trying to look after itself in other ways with these inflammatory issues. So what can we do? We can look for a really good high-end probiotic to help out. If we're getting to the point we're leading into better gut health, we can use something like a probiotic to support that while we're changing our gut health as well. We can use fermented foods to do that. And we can obviously go off our sensitivity foods, or even try just for, say, 12 weeks or even 2 months, go off things like dairy, go off things like gluten or yeast, or those things that can cause inflammatory issues, and see how much better you feel. And if you don't, maybe it's not a sensitivity to you. Not everyone's going to get a blood test like I've had done, but you can trial and error these sorts of things. And I highly recommend you do, because your gut health is so important. And if we can keep that strong, your immunity will stay very strong. Your mindset will stay very strong. It keeps going better and better and better if the gut health is in check and it's healthy, and that good gut bacteria is there for us to keep working for us as well. All right, guys, I hope that was of value to you today. We will be doing 2 more of these videos. We've got 2 days left. Please let me know in the comments if this was of value, or if you'd want me to go through anything else at all. And I do appreciate if you want to share this with your loved ones and your people to see if it's something that might help them out as well. So I thank you all, and I'll see you all on the next video. Bye.